Morning, Zoomers. I don't know if this clock is right, but it says exactly 7. It just turned 7 when I said, I don't know if, and it went 7. So theoretically is the right time. We're going to sit on a cork block with the heels lined up with each other in the midline of the body. If you haven't got a cork block at home, you can use regular blocks like this, short end facing forwards. And you can use a blanket under your shins as well. We're going to face towards this side of the room because it's the prettiest side of the room because of all the stuff, the shenanigans, as Buddhists call it. In Sanskrit, it's called shenanigans. It isn't. Talking nonsense. Chest up, attention in, nasal breathing, breathing through your nose if you can. Shoulders down. Sensing in a very relaxed way into the heart space. Don't overthink anything. That's the general life tip, but it's also a tip about feeling into the heart space. Huh? So what is the heart space? It's the space around the heart. Very simple like that. So feeling into the heart space. Is it ankle problem? Yeah.
Just a little bit, just.
Okay. Is it ankle or knee?
It's actually this one.
Okay.
I was balancing it.
Let's try that. I'll do the same on the other side. Does that feel good? So, yeah. Let's try the same on the other side. So actually just let the foot come down, let the knee come down. That's it. Okay. So it is the ankle, not the knee.
I've just had a little operation there, so I've just been a bit careful.
Okay. Good. Okay. Hands to the heart space. So again, I mean, it's a habit, isn't it, thinking? Obviously, there are various anonymous groups, this anonymous, that anonymous. There should also be a thinkers anonymous, but it would be too big. There's no hall big enough to fit us all in, because many of us, all of us, I would say, are addicted to thinking. So even when we're directed to bringing attention to the heart center, hopefully that comes naturally, and thinking doesn't get in the way, because thinking doesn't know. Thinking speculates, but it doesn't know. What knows is the heart. So we're going to just simply chant the word Om, which is Sanskrit. Sanskrit is actually called Sanskritam Bhasha in Sanskrit. And it's a language that's super connected with our own and with Slavic languages. It comes from the same substratum language that then spins off all these various different languages. And Om, pretty much the same as Amen, it means I agree. So when it's non-specific, when we haven't said what we agree with, we have to presume we agree with everything in this moment. in consciousness, in this moment. So it's not, even thoughts we're agreeing with in this moment, we agree that they arise, we agree to see them as they are, physical sensations and so on. So it's not the same as sometimes people raise the objection, I don't want to agree with, Donald Trump or, climate change deniers or, some whatever, problematic things. But we're just agreeing to the experience arising in consciousness, and then consciousness responds because it's seen what's arisen. Right? So that's what we're agreeing to. We're not, subscribing to views that aren't kind. So the agreement is through Om. We take a deep breath in, so inhale. Then 2 more deep breaths after that, just naturally to relax. And the breath's so important, isn't it? I mean, obviously it's important because you need it to live, but it's important for a yoga practitioner because it's how we listen. It's like a bat listens through its sonar, and humans listen through their ears and so on. Snakes listen through their bellies. We listen through our breath. In other words, our breath tells us when we're holding or when we're releasing, and the breath knows how to respond to that too. Release your hands. Take a breath or 2, and actually we're going to bring ourselves straight up to a standing position. Now, you might have a cork block, but you can use another kind of block. We're simply going to hug it betwixt the knees. Don't know why I said betwixt. Between the knees, with the feet facing forwards and the toes spread. And we stand up tall with the shoulders down. And we breathe through the nose, if we can. Jaw soft, and maybe there's a bit of movement because we're relaxed, we're not sort of fixating. Now we're going to draw the outer back knees, so we know the back knees, right? The outer edge of the back knees backwards, which needs relaxation to accomplish, not struggle or tension, backwards with the outer back knees, and then as you feel that happening, grip the block a little bit more. Quite subtle. You'll feel a bit more stability at the pelvic floor, possibly. Now keep the outer back knees back and bring the inner back knees back as well, but keep the outer back knees back. Don't hold your breath because that means you're trying too hard. Trying blocks the signals of the nerves. As we well know, we know that when we're tense or worried, we forget our lines, or we don't know how to answer a question that we can normally answer, or we make a mess of it at an interview or whatever it is, or fumble over the spaghetti on the first date, which you shouldn't have ordered anyway on a first date. So let's go back to those again, those 3 instructions, but with a relaxed, very, very relaxed, deeply, profoundly relaxed, because that's how the nerves unfurl. And the unfurling of the nerves is how the signals get through. So outer knees back, inner knees grip. Don't hold the breath, watch out for that. So super relaxed. And then inner knees back to meet the outers stay back. And then lift your heart. Relax your arms, let them drift away from the body. Lift the crown of the head as if you're being pulled up by a thread. Don't hold the breath, let it flow. The crown of your head as if you're being pulled up by a thread. Gradually let the palms turn out and drift away from the body. And as they drift, they rise. The tummy is lightly toned. The neck is soft and free. The breathing is honest. Finding the pelvic floor, breathe through your nose. Jaw soft, eyes soft, brain soft. Make sure the roots of your neck are soft. Again, that's a sort of psychophysical thing because the body is a psychophysical thing, isn't it? So your attitude makes a difference. Okay, well done, everyone. Big circle to release. Hands come to the heart, anahata. Well, anahata doesn't mean heart, actually. It means unstruck, but it's often associated with the heart area. Anahata means unstruck, as in the unstruck sound. And the unstruck sound means a sound that doesn't have an origin in an action. In other words, it's sort of a perma sound. And that, of course, is Om in the tradition, but it's, Om is a placeholder for resonance, sort of resonance. Okay, release your hands. We're going to take that same block or brick and put it as high up as you can in the thighs. And depends on the shape of your legs, how close your feet are together. So mine can come quite close because I'm a little bow-legged, a bit of a Charlie Chaplin. Shoulders down, breathing easy. So all your job is to just not drop the block. Just a bit like an emperor penguin. So emperor penguins that they don't hold it between their thighs, between their feet. Raise the arms. Make sure the trapezius, which is the upper back and neck, doesn't tense up as you raise up. Tone up your tummy. Breathe through your nose. Enjoy if you want. And movements can be very, very helpful. Very, very helpful. Helpful in bringing the various fibers together. So you might find a movement left, right, forwards, backwards. You don't have to confirm with the teacher, with the book, with the fellow student. You simply confirm with the breath. Right? Is the breath saying yes? Do you feel absorbed? Is intuition arising? That's the yes you need. That's the only affirmation you need. So you affirm with those affirmations, not with what your peers are doing, what books say, or what your teacher says or does even. Is the breath free? Is intuition spontaneous? Do you feel absorbed? Big circle. Good job, everybody. Take the brick out. And we're going to place it down. Now, this brick might be too high, a brick block, so you can use a purple block instead. We're going to bring our toes up, not necessarily the balls of the feet, but the toes. And it's quite exciting. But please feel free to use a different kind of block if this is too high. It makes you feel like you're going to fall over backwards, which adds some excitement to our mornings. And we breathe into that, like the toe in the tummy. So it's a big stretch for the calcaneus tendon. It switches on the tibialis anterior on the front shins. It switches on the quadriceps, front thigh muscles. But what we want to do as yoga practitioners is switch them on intelligently. Now, intelligent means responsively. So there may be movement, you're tuning in, it needs to feel like it's responsive. Now, to add even more excitement, as if you're not already massively excited, raise the arms up, tone the tummy. So it's an in, up, repeated feeling. Find the pelvic floor. Keep the eyes passive, soft, relaxed. Breathe through your nose. Great. Okay, big wide circle. Great job, everybody. Hands to the hips. And we're going to put our block to the back right corner of our mat. Now, I've got mine on its lowest setting, if you can call that a setting, its lowest height. But you could have it on the middle or higher, right? It should be about the length of the block away from the end of the mat. Don't forget at home if you don't have cork blocks, A, they are easy to get, and B, I mean, not if you haven't got one yet, you can order one, you'll get it by next week, but B, you can use something else. You know, there's books and so on. So hands on the hips, the outer edge of your foot is flush to the outer edge of the block. Your feet are generously placed. Breathing is nasal. Turn your back toes, that's your left toes, in. Lift up the heel of the right foot and turn on the ball of the foot until the heel lines up with the arch of the back foot. And then finish the last bit of the turn on the heel. Stretch the arms. Lift the chest. Inhale, exhale. It's called Trikonasana. Feel the back of your leg very softly moving towards the front of your leg. Jaw soft, eyes soft. Jaw soft, eyes soft, brain relaxed. Maybe there are subtle adjustments that make it feel better for you. The first thing you should adjust is your breath so that it's more natural. In case you think, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Is this right? Is this wrong? Am I comfortable? Aren't I comfortable? That's the addiction to thinking. Inhale, come up, hands on the hips. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and back to the same side. Back toes in, front foot and leg out on the ball of the foot. Finish off the turn on the heel. Stretch the arms, lift the chest. Balance the back foot. Notice how long the stride is that I've taken, and I'm 5'9" and a quarter. One must never forget the quarter. Bend the knee, stretch back, reach down, so you can have the block higher if you need to your block. So have it, please feel free to have it on its full height, half height, because it's a big stretch first thing. Stretch up, 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 up. Now, up might be enough. Some people like to go up and over, and you can borrow a bit of extra from the back heel. If you lift it up, it gives you more length to stretch. Obviously, it makes balance more tricky, but, good challenge in the morning. That's a good thing. Ideally looking up, but not necessarily. We could look ahead, breathing through the nose and playing this Pajvakonasana. Take deep breaths. Relax your eyes if you want. So these instructions that I say, like relax your eyes if you want, they're not decorative. They're practical. Okay, arm down. Come up with your brick if you can. Have a little rest on the way up, halfway up, like a base camp at Mount Everest. And then come up all the way on the inhale. Well done. Block goes to the same place on the other side. So that is to say, behind the heel. Now you've got a better idea of what height of block you'll want. Hands on the hips, wide chest. Breathing through the nose. Back toes in. Front foot and leg turns on the ball of the foot until the heel lines up with the back medial arch, and then you finish the turn off. Lift the chest as you lift the arms. Relax your eyes. Breathe through your nose. Inhale. Exhale. Again, imagine a very soft drawing in, a sort of sympathetic drawing in of the flesh from the back of the leg towards the front of the leg. What's happening is, in fact, the superficial fascia, which holds the fat cells, draws in and kind of almost feels like it sort of fills in all the spaces and it pads out everywhere in the muscles. Fat cells obviously have a high water content, so they are quite pliable. So they can draw in like that. And intention is everything. So deep breaths, honest breaths. Eyes soft, brain soft. Pelvic floor in awareness, in your awareness. Are you breathing like you're relaxed? Because, it's a nice place to be. It's a good place to relax, is the Buddhist Centre. Inhale if you're ready. And feet face forwards again, hands on the hips. Breathe through your nose if you can. Take deep breaths. They really are important. So you've got to let them happen, even encourage them to happen. And we're back in again. Back toes in, front foot and leg out on the ball of the foot. Finish off the turn on the heel. Heel to arch alignment. Between the front hips, the inguinal ligament, which is a thickening of the abdominal tissues, softens. Inhale. Exhale. Feel the stretch going into the back leg as you draw down to your block. Don't forget you can have it higher. Look up, stretch up. If you want to try borrowing a bit of extra from the back heel, then it's worth doing. It's more exciting for a start. Really stretching, and if you do borrow from the back heel, it is a loan, so you do have to pay it back. In other words, you have to bring your heel back down again. Jaw soft, eyes soft, brain soft, throat soft. Light tone in the tummy. Good, okay. Arm down. If you can, come up with the brick. Have a little rest halfway at base camp. And then use your hand to come up. Well done. Take 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 deep breaths. Prasarita Padottanasana is the name of the next pose. Turn your toes in. Turn your toes in. And spread out the little toe side of each foot. Good. Good job, Val. Good little toe work. I do enjoy good little toe work. One of the things I enjoy most in my life is to see, it's true, it's sad but true, but to see little toes extending out. Obviously, I enjoy my children and grandchildren, pets and stuff like that, partner and chocolate and David Bowie, but also little toe extension. And so never give up. You might think, oh, mine don't, it's all right for you, Jim. Yours extend a bit. Mine don't do nothing. Be persistent. I'm still working on mine, and I haven't stopped for 32 years. So keep going. Okay, raise your brick up, don't drop it. Good job. Lightly tone the tummy. So what does lightly tone the tummy mean? It means it draws in and up. And the purpose of that is because as you lift your ribs, if the tummy's drawn in and up, then it will pull the front of the pelvis up with it. The back of the pelvis is drawn down. Therefore, the lower back muscles get a stretch, and you can exploit that even more if you want by moving and adjusting the tissues with any movements of the pelvis or feet or torso. So adjustment is intuitive. It's not something you need to check or ask. You need to forget about peer group pressure. You need to forget about what your yoga teacher might or might not want. You need to forget about what they've written in modern postural yoga books about yoga and trust intuition. Pratibha, it's called, the inner light in Sanskrit. Inhale, exhale, fold, brick down, hands on, look forwards, breathe deep. Check if your toes have snuck their way out again. They are quite sneaky. So turn your heels out, not toes. And breathe easy. And then some people find it useful, including people like Jim Tarrant, to move their feet. So you might want to see what ways that you might find useful. For example, I quite like to do a wheelie. I like to lift my toes up. I get to spread my toes really well then. And, some people like to lift their heels. There's different ways to get different kinds of stretches, but the purpose of any movement is to relax and absorb. To relax and absorb. Outer hips in, inner groins up. Outer hips in, inner groins up. Breathing through the nose. Outer hips in, inner groins up is one instruction. Now, some people might feel the lower back dipping down, which is good and right, and as it should be. If we don't feel it dipping down, we definitely stay with the brick at this height and breathe into it. And I think most people will benefit because we want to keep the spine open. But for some people, sometimes it feels like it's dipping too much and it feels you want to take the brick lower. That's fine. You can if you. But we got to keep the anterior spine, the front spine, from collapsing anywhere along its length, right? So there's no rounding of the back whatsoever. So press into the brick, open the chest, deepen the shoulder blades, eyes soft, brain soft, throat soft, tongue soft, etc. Breath is everything. And that rule about the block, that can go on for as long as you like. Some people like to take the block further forwards. That's fine if you wanted to. But it's only, fine if it's actually opening the anterior spine. Some people want to take it lower, etc. So there's different things you can do. If you did push the block forwards, pull it back. Walk your feet a little closer together and come to the highest point you can on the block. So it might be on your knuckles or just the feet a little closer, and then come to your fingertips on the block. And then pressing down from the sitting bones to the heels, come up. Leave the block where it is. Well done, well done. Walk the feet towards each other. We're going to come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, that is to say the downward facing dog position. I've got to tuck this in. And then as soon as you're ready, you can come into your downward facing dog position. Adho Mukha Svanasana. A great many people do find it useful to bend the knees, to move the pelvis, etc. Sorry, etc. wasn't a very good instruction, was it? Stuff like that. And the purpose of any movement, well, it has several purposes, but the overarching purpose is absorption. But within that overarching purpose, we have hydration of the myofascia everywhere, back chain particularly. So that means feet, hamstrings, calf muscles, pelvic muscles at the back muscles themselves, through to the neck. So move the pose around because hydration comes that way, like, moving your pelvis left or right, bending the knees. That's how hydration happens. Okay, well done, gang. Jolly good. Come down to a kneeling position for which you might need to sit with a block between the heels and buttocks or two. So, for example, like that, or, you can imagine another one on top of that. If your ankles are uncomfortable, use a blanket rolled up underneath your front ankles, blocks for the buttocks, and then you can be really comfy with those two things. Rolled up, neatly rolled up blanket underneath the front ankles. Don't rush it. No peer group pressure. Everything's calm and relaxed. And then the block between the heels and buttocks as well. And this is a very simple pose called Vajrasana. Chest is up, shoulders are down, eyes are soft. Perhaps there's rocking side to side. And that rocking is a way of just soothing the body, massaging the body, calming the body. Eyes soft, brain soft, throat soft. So chest up, breathing through the nose, moving left, moving right. Okay. We're going to bring ourselves out to stretch our legs out. We're going to need a yoga belt, or at home, if you don't have a yoga belt, a dressing gown belt will do. I hope you have a dressing gown belt. I worry about the Amazon delivery people if you don't. So you're going to need a belt. You're going to tie it up round your feet. I think I turned that as well. We're going to put a block as well between the feet. It's Parapunanavasana. I'll just say that to cut to the chase. To cut to the chase. Parapunanavasana, you might know this already with the block, but basically, belt does up. If you look at the buckles on most yoga belts, there's a sort of underneath and top bit. If you take it from the material, you go through the part of the belt nearest the material first, and then back through the other way. Then you're going to slip that beautiful belt on, And some people like to add a block here. And you're going to potentially do it up more, or maybe not. Maybe it may be as it needs to be. Because what we want is 90 degrees at the knees, please. So not less than 90 degrees isn't 90 degrees. More than 90 degrees also, just in case you didn't know, isn't 90 degrees. So 90 degrees is a right angle. Must admit, I didn't pay much attention in maths at school. I partly blame Mr. Hall, although I don't have any resentment towards him. I was quite fond of him in his own way, but he used to just write things on the blackboard, disappear. I think he was having an affair with Miss Childs, and they used to disappear. And then what happened after that was everyone mucked around for the whole lesson. So that didn't work. Anyway, but even so, with that terrible maths education, I know what 90 degrees is. So if yours was anything better than mine, you definitely should know. Now, you don't want to sit on a block for this, Ollie, because it's terribly scary if you do that. You're going to just lean back until we raise the block up like a magician, like that. You can even use magician's finger. Never practice this on the edge of the cliffs. So that's all, you're just raising the block. The belt goes underneath your shoulder blades, right? Yeah, underneath the shoulder blades. And it's all in the 90-degree thing. It shouldn't rise up to your armpits. It shouldn't drop to your lower back. If you're making a malarkey of it, enjoy that. A morning malarkey, it can be fun. And if the belt's slipping, check that you did it up the right way, through the material, to the side of the buckle, through the material, and then back, because they're locking belts. They should lock if you get it right. You can keep the legs bent, or some people like to straighten the legs, but watch out for the belt rising up. It shouldn't rise up to the armpits, so I often have to shimmy it back down. And this is Parapuna Navasana. You might think, what a lot of fuss for the pose. Why can't we just do it without the block and belt? Well, that's coming. That's coming soon. Sorry, what you can't see at home, Zoomers, is one of our favourite participants in the class, Ollie Smythe, rolling around like a loony. He's got long legs. He's got long, elegant legs. He can't help it. But what I'm enjoying, and I think Ollie's enjoying too, is the fact that Ollie's letting himself enjoy it. And you should do the same. If you roll over, most adults don't get to roll over because they're much too sensible and serious. But it's good to have a roll about. Yeah, take it slow. Keep your hands behind you, Ollie. Behind you. Further back. Yeah, and just stay there. And take a breath. Yeah, that's it. And then only if things go okay, you might entertain straightening the legs a little bit, but no rush. It can be good to get cocky with it as well. See that slip, Ali? Oh. So examples of being cocky are the thinker, the smoker, the newspaper reader. Good job. Okay, we're going to remove that now. Well done, everyone. Hopefully you used your dressing gown belts or judo belts. Some people will do judo. I had a book on judo when I was 11. Quite liked that book. I wonder where it is now. We're going to do the same pose without the belt. So you're probably thinking, oh, good. Thank God. Get rid of that bloody belt. Well, think again, gang. Lean back 30 degrees. Raise your legs up by 60 degrees. Where's the belt? Give me the belt. Breathe through your nose if you can. Parapuna, full boat. Good. I think when you plant a flex, Ali, it gives you more strength. No, do it again. I think it's good. I think it gives you more strength. It calls your superpowers forward. Breathe through the nose to yourself. Okay, well done. Cross your legs. Oh my God. Draw the body flesh out and back. We'll just sit cross-legged for a second and just take a breath. Or two, or three. Listening, responding. Listening, responding. So that's kind of what yoga is. Like dance is, isn't it? Listening, responding. Yoga is also listening, responding. Now, a lot of people find that pose tricky that we just did. It's called full boat. And so you might opt for what's called the half boat, thinking that, well, that might be better. So let's opt for that and see what happens. The truth of the matter is that the half boat is in some ways worse than the full boat. Sorry, it wasn't a very good advert. Keep your hands behind your head. Roll back a long way, 60 degrees, much further back than you want to go. Raise your toes up to the height of your eyes. So straight ahead to your eyes, to your eyes to toes. Right? Breathe through your nose, eyes to toes. Trembling is normal. Okay. Good job. Bend your legs. Hug your legs. Lift your chest. Use your arms around your legs. Lift your chest up and breathe through your nose. Take some deep breaths. Rock around the clock tonight. So I didn't need to finish that sentence like that, but just rock around. And the purpose is to loosen up, isn't it? Just to loosen up the back. Jaw soft, eyes soft, throat soft, brain soft, tongue soft. Everything that can be soft is soft. We're going to lay on our backs next, which is often a very popular thing. People are usually pleased to hear about that. We'll see. So lay on your back with your hands underneath your head as if you're on holiday. I guess it's not that long till holiday season. My favourite bit of Christmas, I know some people hate Christmas, so sorry that I said the word Christmas already in November. But my favourite bit of Christmas is the run-up to. I love fairy lights, I love Christmas trees, I love tinsel, I love it all. And the only reason I'm less keen on Christmas Day itself is because it's over too soon. I love Christmas. I'm a bit like Elf, if you've seen that movie. That's kind of me. So flex up the hips, lower back close to the floor, breathe through your nose. So it is kind of holiday season's begun. I've noticed shops have decorated. Sorry if that's the opposite of what you like. I hope maybe you'll come to like tinsel and stuff. Lift up your head, breathe through your nose. Now your lower back's pushing into the floor, which means the myofascia, the thoracolumbar fascia, in fact, is being pushed into, which means the fluid within it is pushed out, which means when we release in a minute, it will rush back in a higher quantity. So we're going to release now, the head down, elbows down, breathe through the nose, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 deep breaths. Eyes soft, and then we're going to lift up the head again. Make sure your hands are somewhere that's comfortable for your neck and your skull, and so that can change. Some people find that they prefer the hands on the crown, and some people on the back of the neck or the skull. Not everyone will want to, but some of you will want to or be able to lift up the pelvis as well, just using the abdominals. So the legs stay pretty much relaxed, but you're really flexing using the abdominals. Okay, head down, feet down. Everyone takes a deep breath that I can hear, even at home, I can hear it from here. Good, take a few deep breaths. So really letting the breath roll, right? That's your skill. Even if you just do it for 1 or 2 breaths. It's like, okay, I'll let the breath roll for 2 breaths. That's, and then you might like it and you might think, okay, all right, 3. You can just let the breath roll for 3 breaths or 4 or whatever. The benefit will be exponential with each further breath. The benefits are profound. They're profound for the diaphragm, they're profound for the psoas. They're profound in terms of the habituations of the mind. We're going to flex up again, we're going to lift up again, we're going to open the angle at the back of the knees to 90 degrees, please. So lift your feet, open the angle at the knees, 90 degrees, that's it. Feet as if against a wall, right? So the feet are perpendicular to the floor. Lift the head up, breathe through the nose. Opposite to opposite. So we're going to turn towards the shrine, opposite knee, opposite elbow, towards each other. They don't have to reach each other. And the hands can move to wherever is comfortable. And then obviously we go back and do the same the other way. Breathing through the nose. Good job. Good job. And then one more time each side. Again, please feel free to adjust your hand position so it's supported and comfortable. Last time, last side. Eyes soft, jaw soft, throat soft, brain soft. Return to center, head down, feet down. Deep breath, proper deep breath, and then another, and then another, and then another. So the breath should roll. So the breath should roll. So very natural, very natural. Eyes soft, brain soft, throat soft. Release your hands from behind your head. Flex your hips and hug your legs. Just wrap your arms around your legs. I hug with my knees apart. Some people prefer to do it with their knees together. In fact, I say some people, most people in my observations prefer it with the knees together, but you can try both ways if you want. Roll around a bit. So you might roll left, you might roll right. The purpose of the rolling is absorption. Breath comes and goes naturally. Jaw stays soft. We're just looking for richness. And because richness, it kind of absorbs us into it, doesn't it? Richness is like, the sunset is a spiritual experience because it eats us. It eats our sort of mundane conditioned self. And we become absorbed in the interdependent dance that the sunset is part of, and that ultimately everything is part of. But the beauty of the sunset arrests our attention at first because it's so rich, in the same with anything else that's rich, including these sensations. Release if you're ready, or when you're ready, the feet back down to the floor. And again, we're going to take our dressing gown belt, judo belt, or yoga belt. If you can tie it, it might already be in a loop, in which case keep it in a loop. Otherwise, tie it into a loop. And we're going to make stirrups for one foot. Now, how big the loop is dictates how big the stirrups are. So that really depends on several factors: how flexible your hamstrings are, how long your arms and legs are, how long your torso is. So stirrups means you put both sides, the whole thing, round your feet. The whole thing just goes around your feet. And then you're ending up with these little hand holds, I'm calling stirrups. But it does need to be just right. It doesn't want to be too short. Your arms should be straight. It doesn't want to be too, it doesn't want to be too long. Your arms should be straight. It doesn't want to be too short because you want your leg to be straight too. So it's a balance. And you just hold those two stirrups, but adjust the belt until those stirrups are perfect. For me, they need to be very, very short. For some, they need to be something more middle, and others need to be longer. So once you got it right, it means your leg is straight and your arms are straight. And you've got two stirrups, one for each hand, because you put the whole belt over your foot. So you should have two stirrups. So you take the belt like that. Yeah, that's it, belt. And then you put the whole thing over your foot, the whole loop as a whole loop. And then that's how you make your two stirrups. Yeah, you got it. Lift the foot that's on the floor off the floor and feel, I hope you enjoy your lower back touching the floor more deeply. Breathe through your nose. Relax your neck if you want, and shoulders, and lower back. Then we're going to extend that lower leg to about 45 degrees relative to the floor and relative to the other leg, pushing the lower back closer, more proximal to the floor. Some people, like me, like to lift their head. You could describe it. So if you want, you can. What it does is imprint more deeply into the abdominals. And that imprinting challenges what is subconsciously running the show otherwise. Then the leg, head down, foot down, release the upper leg, Belt on the tummy, hands on the chest. Take 3 deep breaths. So really letting them come and go and come and go and come and go. Neck soft, jaw soft, eyes soft, deep breaths. Probably obvious that we're going to do the other leg next, but just in case it isn't, we're going to do the other leg next. So similarly, bring the strap up and it goes around, again, the front of the heel, and we want to end up with those 2 stirrups. Like with anything, if you take your time, you're more likely to save time. So don't rush, take your time, get it right for you. And then hold the 2 stirrups equally, make sure one's not longer than the other. Make sure your neck is relaxed and you're breathing through your nose. Flex up the hip, that is, lift the foot off the other leg. Take a couple of deep breaths, relaxing your neck, middle back, lower back. Extend the leg to 45 degrees, push the lower back into the floor as you do that. Optionally raise the head for those that want to. If you do raise the head, the neck should be under no strain, so you want to use the abdominals entirely. Jaw soft, eyes soft. If you are raising the head, keep your chin close to your chest, like you're looking at your navel. Good job. Bend back the extended leg, bring your head down, bring the extended leg foot down. What was the extended leg foot? And release the other one down. Hands on the upper chest, take 3 or 4 deep breaths, or 5, or 7, or 29. In fact, any number. My point is, the more deep breaths you can just let flow through you, just put everything to one side, the past, the future, who you're supposed to be, the duties, the voices in your head that are telling you the duties and things you're supposed to do, the roles you're supposed to play, whether you're a parent or a daughter or a son or a brother or a sister or an employee or an employer, etc. The list goes on. All the things we're supposed to be, we let them go. Now we're going to roll over to face towards the shrine side of the room whenever we're ready, as long as we're ready immediately. We bend the leg that we're laying on to 90 degrees, more or less. That is 2 sets of 90 degrees between the calf and the thigh, and between the thigh and the tummy. Having done that, we extend the inner groin. So there's 2 main muscles here, the iliacus and the psoas, that come from the inner groin across the lateral pubis, and then they go underneath the abdominals and attach to the sides of the lower spine. Now, the reason I'm mentioning those 2 muscles there is because we want to soften so that the muscles become more pliant, so that when you lift your leg and then land it again, don't worry if that's your fun, lift it and land it, then the muscles will elongate. Tummy draws in, push down, lift, turn, elbows and forearms on the floor, and wrists and hands. The elbows should be forwards of the shoulders. The elbows should be forwards of the shoulders. The breathing should be expressive. Perhaps you'll find movement helpful, like left, right, forwards, backwards. Jaw soft, eyes soft, brain soft, throat soft. So breathing, expressive, breathing, natural. Tummy drawn in. Chest, every so often, if you draw the lower belly, just including the upper pubis, you draw that in, you can then pull your chest forwards and get a bit more turn of the lower back muscles. So you pull your belly in near your pubis, pull your chest forwards and turn. I'll repeat that one more time. Pull your belly in near the pubis, pull the chest forwards and turn one more time. Okay. Really good for the back. Top leg on top of the bottom leg, curl up from the side, use your arms to help your ascent. You're going back down again, same thing, still facing the shrine. It's just you swap which end your feet are. So you still face the same direction, it's just you swap which end your feet are. Bend the leg you're laying on, 2 sets of 90 degrees between the thigh and the tummy, that's 90 degrees. This is the thing I know about maths, is 90 degrees. And then between the calf and the thigh. And then when we're ready, we're going to extend, lift and extend several times. The reason I mentioned the pliability of the psoas and the iliacus, these muscles here, is because they are directly affected by our attitude, by our, it's called bhava in Sanskrit. So lifting and landing, lifting and landing, lifting and landing several times, because each time you lift, hopefully you can adopt an attitude that lets the tissue be soft. I don't know what the attitude is. It's normally something like, or can be something like, happiness to be here. Like, oh, this is so nice. You know, Buddhist Centre, there's no rush. That could be an attitude of gratitude that helps the body release. Or just an attitude of, trust, surrender, whatever it is. But every time you lift, it extends, and every time you land it, it holds the extension in. Then that will give you an extension once it's settled in to build on when you do it again. The tummy draws in, push into the hands, lift and turn if you're ready. Elbows, forearms and wrists on the floor. It's called Shayana Marichasana. Maricha is the name of a sage, Maricha. What is it called? Marichi. Marichi. Breathe through your nose, move left, move right. So you're just massaging it in by doing two things. Stretching forwards, and that's that instruction about the pubis, drawing in the belly just above the pubis, and pulling up and turning. And then the other way in which you can massage is just move side to side, you know. Breathing through the nose, eyes soft, brain soft. Okay, top leg on top of the bottom leg. Curl up and bring yourself to hands and knees. Catch your breath. Have a little wag of the pelvis, left and right, so on. So you're just loosening up, intimating looseness. Check that your hands are equidistant from the sides of the mat. Look at the little fingers. Hopefully you've spread your fingers. If not, spread them now. Make sure the middle fingers face forwards and the little fingers are equidistant from the side of the mat. Hands are super spread, which is an expression I've just made up. Super spread palms. Just means stretch them. Toes tucked under, lift your bum. The only reason to check your hands are equidistant, only point in doing it is if you also check your feet. They don't have to be the same as the hands, they have to be the same as each other. Left foot should be the same distance from the side of the mat as the right. And then pushing and opening, pushing and opening, pushing through the armpits, opening through the armpits. Opening the underside of the armpits. If you divided the armpit and your arm is up in the air, if you divided the armpit into a top and bottom, the underside of the armpit is near the legs. Good. Now, drift your shoulders forward so they come above the wrists and let the whole body slope diagonally from shoulder blades to buttocks, from buttocks to heels. From here, we're going to attempt something that might be tricky. We're going to lower the body and hover it for a moment and then immediately push up and bend the back, right? Or arch the back. Good job. So it's Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. You can do it with toes tucked under as I've got here, or with toes pointing back. Either way, the chest lifts from the bottom of the breastbone. The tummy is toned. Don't squeeze the buttocks together. Keep the legs off the floor if you can, but it doesn't matter if you can't, it's fine. but just lift the chest. Roll and lift back into down face dog. Well done. Catch a deep breath or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. Take the hand that's furthest from me, bring it towards me so it's in the space between where the hands were. So then turn towards me and go onto the side of your foot. Turn towards me. The other leg's going to support you behind you. And you can play with that. Okay, you can play with that. No, you're good, Nick. Don't let Chris. Chris did it wrong, but we love him still. It's okay, Chris. You're good as you are. It's just breathe easy. You can do things. Well done, Val. Well done. You can bend, extend. You can play in any way. Keep it, loose. Even though we're keeping it loose, it's still bloody hard. So we come back to down face dog. Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done. Take a few deep breaths. Vashisthasana, the pose is called. Ovs, you're going to turn the other way. So just bring your other hand into the midline of the two hands. You're turning away from me. Good job. The other leg goes behind you. Your top leg goes behind you onto the floor. And that will help you a lot. If you place the foot on the floor with your knee pointing out, you can lift the heel if you want. Breathe through your nose. So the bottom leg is straight. The top leg is bent. The bottom leg is straight. The top leg is bent. Good job. Back to hands and knees in down face dog. Well done. Pad your paws like a cat. I know it's dog pose, but like a cat. And breathe easy. Come down slow and easy. Take a breath. Bring your hands forwards and chest down and head down. So it's an arm stretch. Breathing through your nose. Okay, lift the head, bring the arms back towards the body. Just a little movement, limber up. Breathe through your nose. Take the arm that's furthest away from me, and I'm going to take the one furthest away from you and bring it towards me, like I'm bringing mine towards you, palm up. Eventually you come down and extend your other arm out to fingertips. And take some deep breaths into the muscles that cap the shoulders, the deltoids. Keep the jaw passive, eyes passive, brain relaxed. Bring the hand back and push. And the inhale, back to hands and knees. And obviously, after 3 deep breaths or so, we'll be going the other way. So just take a couple more deep breaths before we do. And then feed the arm that's closest to me away from me. You got it. Palm up. Extend out the other arm. You got it. Arm on the floor, fully on the floor. That lower arm. Good job. Breathe through your nose. Be on your fingertips of the extended arm. Fingertips. I heard one student once call them tented fingers. I like that. Lizzie it was. Lizzie. Thanks, Lizzie. It's good. Tented fingers. Okay. Push to come up. Take a deep breath. We're going to sit in a regular kneeling position, taking the supports that we found useful before. If we found supports useful, we're going to face, actually we can face towards the shrine side of the room. So you might use a rolled up blanket under your ankles. You might use a block between the heels and buttocks. And the chest is up, chest is up. And there may be a bit of movement. So keep that chest up, keep the head up, shoulders down, eyes soft. Now another mantra associated with the heart is Hong. We're going to chant that once with the eyes closed. Hands to the heart. Take a deep breath in, inhale. And then a deep breath in with a deep breath out like a sigh. And then let another happen. Another happen. Another happen. And so we're going to release the hands. We're going to come to a very important pose and very popular pose, Shavasana. So we're going to lay on our backs. Make sure you're warm enough. You might want to put a blanket over the top of you. Please feel free to do that. It's an eyes closed, jaw soft, shoulder blades scooted under. Feel the full weight of the limbs completely release. The full weight of the limbs completely release. And that includes the head. The arms should be away from the body, not on the yoga mat. Palms facing up. The full weight of the limbs. Notice the correlation between settling and expansion. The more of one, the more of the other. Wiggle the fingers and wiggle the toes. Just to feel into the body. Move the wrists and move the ankles. Stretch out intuitively and naturally in your own way. And when you feel ready, bend your legs and place the soles of the feet onto the floor. Scoot the buttocks under and take another deep breath in, the deep breath out. Let a few breaths roll. Roll, then, to face away from this side of the room. Knees drawn up and tummy soft. Both arms coming over with you. Roll again when you feel ready to. Coming to by perhaps rubbing your eyes, running a hand through your hair, stretching out an arm or a leg. When you're ready, bring yourself up from the side. Om just means I agree. So here's a sentence, see if you agree with it or not. And if you do, say Om after I've said Om to intimate your agreement. May the merit gained in our acting thus go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. Om. Thanks very much for your time, Roomers. And thanks very much for your time, Zoomers. And marvelous to see you. Marvelous to see you. And I really look forward to seeing you ASAP and try and be good in the meantime, which is highly unlikely, I think.